St. Thomas Aquinas was one of the most important theologians of the church, making enormous contributions in the areas of faith and reason and for the existence of God. For Aquinas, faith and reason are not at odds, diametrically opposed opposites, always in conflict. Rather, faith and reason are compatible, mutually reinforcing, and logical. Two sides of the same coin, if you will. For Aquinas and others like him, the fact that there is anything at all, that a universe even exists, let alone a universe that is so elegantly designed in its laws, mechanisms, and beauty, points clearly to a designer, a master architect, who is our God. And it isn't just what we see or experience, but it's the clear echoes of the invisible, the unseen hand that is at work here. Indeed, it is all awe-inspiring and faith-affirming. So for his Memorial Day, the readings which focus on faith are perfect selections, and I think St. Thomas Aquinas would approve. For as the letter to the Hebrews says, our first reading, faith is the realization of what is hoped for and evidence of things not seen. So how do we do this? How do we have faith effectively? Well, the first reading gives us a thought-provoking example in Abraham, demonstrating how faith is tested, how we humans sometimes fall short, and how faith can prevail. Abraham was asked to believe in promises that stretched credulity, that he and his wife, despite their advanced age, would have descendants. He was asked to sacrifice and give up his son, Isaac. He was promised things that he himself would never see, coming true only in the future. And while he and his wife Sarah struggled sometimes, they ultimately demonstrated faith and believed and passed key tests. Abraham and Sarah, despite those difficulties, died in faith, trusting in the Lord. So faith comes down to judging that God himself is faithful and will fulfill his promises. It is to be in the boat with God, in the midst of the storm, and to know he keeps those promises and to not be afraid. For in faith we know he will rebuke the wind. The noted 20th century Baltimore Sun journalist and unflinching atheist named Henry Louis Mencken said that faith is the illogical belief in the occurrence of the impossible. Well, this would only be true if there was no God, or that he did not matter. But as Aquinas clearly lays out, there is a God, and he does matter. And all of us here have experienced his love in profound and moving ways. The invisible God encountered in the spiritual, beyond our mere senses, but still mysteriously felt in our heart. And we are asked by God to demonstrate faith that, like Abraham, he will fulfill his promises to us. And what are those promises? That he has built a place for us in his kingdom, that he will testify to his Father on our account, that he will save us from our sins, that he loves us, and that we are all worthy, that we may be in the boat with high winds and crashing waves, but that we're going to be okay. These are his promises, and by faith, we know that he will keep them.